the 150 people circle. I love that concept. I'd love to dive more into that.
Oh, do you want to go there for young leaders? That'd be fun.
Let's go there, and we'll wrap it up after this. We'll touch on that, and then I'm just going to leave it as a teaser, guys. This is just like literally, this is about 5% of the gold that's in this book. I'm not just saying this to hype this book, and we're going to give, Carey, we're going to give the first 5 people that send a message on Instagram that they love this podcast. We're sending out a free book to them to provide value. But yes, touch on the 150 people circle.
So 150 people, and this is weird for digital natives. So most of the people listening to this are somewhat digital natives or digital natives. There was a British evolutionary psychologist, Robin Dunbar. He coined something that's now known as Dunbar's number, who makes the argument that human beings are hardwired for 150 relationships. From a faith perspective, you could say we were created or designed for 150 human relationships. He gets there by going back to the size of medieval villages in Europe, generally no more than 150 people. He goes to how the Roman army was organized into companies and divisions, no more than 150 people. Then he starts, look at the average church size in America, less than 200 people. 85% of all churches are 200 people or fewer. Then he breaks it down and says, there's a smaller circle in those relationships, that's about 12 to 15. He said 12 to 15 of those 150 are people that are friends, like genuine friends. You know their name, their dog's name, you know their spouse's name, you know where they went to vacation, you know their favorite food when you go out eating, you know who they cheer for in sports. Like they're like genuine, legit friends that you probably see on average once a month. And then inside at the center of the circle are 3 to 5 people who he calls best friends. And he said, those are the people who know everything about you, your struggles, they know you inside out, they know your fears and your insecurity. And he argues that those limits are hard set. So if you're a Christian, think about this. Jesus had hundreds of disciples, then he had 70, then he had 12, and inside the 12, he had how many? 3.
Yeah, 3 close.
Crazy.
Wow.
He goes, that's how human beings are designed. That's how we're hardwired. And he said, you do not have the capacity for more. So think about it. You probably had 3 to 5 really close friends in elementary. Were they the same in high school? No. Were they the same in college? No. Are they the same in your 20s? No. But what happens is the number stays static, but the players switch.
Wow. Man.
Josh, who was your best friend in 8th grade, may not be your best friend now, but another person has come into that circle to replace Josh. And he said that is a hardwired limit. 12 to 15 is a hardwired limit, and 150 is a hardwired limit. So why do so many people feel stressed out? 70% of people in their 20s and 30s say they've experienced some form of burnout in the last year, according to the American Psychiatric Association. I'll have to look at my notes to get an exact quote on that stat. But anyway, you know what's interesting? Some of that, I think, is relational burnout, because anybody who looks at their phone right now, count them up, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, if anyone's still on Facebook, how many friends do you have? Guaranteed. It's over 150. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. So guess what? You're not wired for that kind of relationship. You don't, and now all those people, digital is flat, right? In a medieval village, it was like there was John the blacksmith and there was Clyde the baker, and you would know Clyde and you would know John and you know Gina who made the best pies or whatever it happened to be. And they wouldn't all be at your door at once, because maybe you get 3 knocks at the door in the course of a day at a medieval village. That's all you get. Now you get 3 knocks a minute in text messages, emails, direct messages, all of that stuff. That's one of the reasons we're melting down. And what we haven't figured out is how to handle that. So what I recommend in my book, there's a whole strategy. It's like write down your 3 to 5, write down your 12 to 15, and then the depth of relationship should determine the depth and speed of your response. Because here's how most people are relating, right? When your mom texts you and asks you a question, that should receive more of your attention than the person you haven't talked to from high school who wants you to support their charity run. You probably don't need to get back to your buddy in high school. He's not even one of your 150. But your mom, she needs your attention. And what happens to most of us is mom gets ignored, or your kids get ignored, or your wife gets ignored because you're so busy doing all these 5K runs from people you don't even remember who they were, and now they all have access to you.
Carey, that was one of the most powerful segments I've ever had on this podcast, because you are speaking directly to me. In the business of relationships, cultivating relationships. I feel overwhelmed that I can't stay in touch with the people I want to stay in touch with. You're right. We don't have to feel that pressure, that weight on our shoulders.